thank you for joining us. Meet the Makers is conducting this webinar series in collaboration with the Indonesian Heritage Society. The chair of the Indonesian Heritage Society, Ms. Anya Robertson, is to do the opening. I just would like to check if she was able to overcome the technical difficulties. So we'll have our introduction, as is by tradition by the Indonesian Heritage Society Chair, Ms. Anya Robertson, who has been kindly advising and supporting this webinar series and much more. The floor is yours for your welcome remarks, Ms. Anya.
Thank you, Chrissy. It is a great pleasure to welcome you. Thank you for joining the 10th webinar series of the Indonesian Heritage Society and Meet the Makers. We will hear directly from the founders of two local yayasans, Kanisius Ani in Flores and Adinindyah in Central Java, their efforts to keep the weaving tradition alive and the challenges they face during this pandemic. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Ms. Anya. So before we start our this webinar, the 10th webinar of this Kaleidoscope Changing Pattern series, we first would like to invite the founder of Meet the Makers, Ms. Nia Flayem, a batik artist herself based in Yogyakarta. She'll be giving an introduction about this webinar series before we start. So I turn it over to you, Nia.
Thank you, Chrissy. Thank you to everyone for joining the Meet the Makers Kaleidoscope Changing Patterns webinar series. Thank you especially to the Indonesian Heritage Society in joining us in this initiative to support the continuing traditions of Indonesian culture, particularly in the field of craft as art. The global pandemic has made annual fairs of makers impossible for this year, and many artisans are struggling because of the impact that this has had on their craft. We hope that with these webinars, we can contribute to the lot and livelihood of artisans by continuing to honor their work through these talks. Please know that 100% of your contribution will go directly to the artisans themselves. We hope that you enjoy the webinar today, and although it is our 10th webinar, we are still learning and making improvements, so please bear with us for any shortcomings. I turn over to Chrissy, who will explain a few guidelines about the webinar, and she will also introduce our moderator. Thank you.
Thank you, Nia. Our moderator is Ms. Nonette Royo. Maybe she is the farthest from us now because she is moderating from Stockholm, Sweden. She just arrived from Iceland. So we welcome her online today for this. Nonette is a human rights and environmental lawyer. She's the executive director of the Tenure Facility based in Stockholm, supporting indigenous peoples and local communities in their struggle for land rights and many other things. She also is one of the founders and the previous director of the Samdana Institute that works on nurturing and cultivating resilient communities for social and environmental justice in Southeast Asia. We know of Ms. Nonette Royo for her support in Samdana for many artisans that were supported through Samdana's financial assistance to attend many of the Meet the Makers exhibitions in the past. So without further ado, I am proud and honored to introduce Ms. Nonette Royo, both my mentor and my friend. So now the floor is yours, Nonette.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am very happy to be here with you, and I greet many of my friends here in Indonesia and different parts of the world. I am your moderator, so I will take you through this process with a bit of a let's hurry up, it's time kind of attitude. Yes, and I will start by saying that two of our panelists are here with us, Kanisius Ani and Adinindyah. And they are both the very strong leaders of recovering, remembering, regenerating ancient weaving traditions of Indonesia. So I will start by introducing Kanisius Ani. He is lovingly, fondly called Om Anis by all of us. He is himself an indigenous person from the Dobo village, from Dobo peoples in the Iyantara village of Sika district in East Nusa Tenggara. Om Anis will show us his journey with the indigenous women ikat weavers in the Dobo village. He came back from having been successful in his travels around Indonesia to be a really committed indigenous leader and farmer of chocolate and organizer of the local people. He then happened to be the one who helped the ikat women ikat weavers in Dobo to organize themselves and set up their weaving house and do a lot of trainings and exchanges in their skills, remembering their designs. The Dobo textile design is very distinct, and they do it with ritual when they start their design. And these motifs are ancient and also based on nature. He will show this to us in his presentation. So this support is crucial and strategic for options for women, many of whom have gone out to be undocumented migrant workers outside of the country. The inspiration to go back and weave and create and regenerate is very important for Om Anis. He will have a film for that. And next is Adinindyah. Adinindyah. I have known her for a long time when I was in Indonesia. She's a chairperson and co-founder of LAWE. And LAWE is a very unique social enterprise with a mission to empower women by remembering and weaving the crafts to conserve traditions for weaving. And she starts that in Java, and she has now spread it out. So her passion is really to transform this hand-woven fabric that are ancient and the motifs are really traditional into functional handicrafts for local and international markets. And she has done this over the years, from being not very popular at all to now very popular. She spread her sisterhood of LAWE. When she founded, there were 5 of them, now to a lot more in all the provinces. So she's using also, her approach is using these techniques of being sustainable and zero waste. And the business model is to really embed the skills in the women who have the calling for it to become their own entrepreneurs and to be self-employed and to do their own work after or with LAWE. So with this story, she will tell us how the women have continued to do this despite the pandemic. The films that we will be showing is courtesy of Infis, and Infis is very helpful. They're committed to develop documentary films for showing Indonesia's nature and culture to the public. Infis is the short for Indonesia Nature and Film Society. It's the production unit of Rekam Nusantara Foundation, and it is now committed to work with Meet the Makers to collaborate through the support of the Ford Foundation. So we will now begin by showing the film. We'll start with Flores and then next Java. And I will only be interrupting a little bit for the for the timing. And the questions, if you have them, put them in the chat site, or there's a section for questions. Go ahead now for the film.
Jadi kalau untuk perempuan di pembuatan itu pasti semua harus bisa menenun. Dan ada ibu-ibu yang pulang dari rantauan atau KTKI. Kenapa mereka juga harus bergabung di sini? Karena mereka merasa bahwa tenun itu adalah salah satu manfaat bagi mereka, dan bagi orang tua itu tidak mungkin semua perempuan tidak pakai kain atau satu. Yang itu ada salah satu Mama Onci, dia juga baru pulang dari TKI, tapi dia sangat suka sekali dia bergabung di kelompok Bambatan. Dia sudah dulunya tidak bisa menenun, tidak bisa ikat sekarang, dia belajar sampai dengan bisa, dan dia sudah sangat terbantu sekali dan cara buatnya. Inilah pekerjaan kami perempuan kelompok Bambatan. Tradisi dari nenek moyang kami bahwa kami boleh bekerja yang lain, tetapi tidak lupa juga dengan menenun.
Pertama saya sekolah di Kupang, terus itu pulang dari Kupang, saya merantau lagi ke Batam selama 6 tahun. Dari situ saya belum pernah tahu soal mengikat benang, apalagi menenun. Tetapi setelah saya pulang dari Batam tahun 2012, saya kembali ke kampung ini. Saya melihat bahwa kegiatan ini sangat-sangat bermanfaat. Adat di sini sebagai seorang perempuan, walaupun dia bersekolah tinggi, berpendidikan tinggi, tetapi dia harus bisa menenun. Mulai dari proses awal, mulai dari cara penggulungan sampai dengan proses terakhir yaitu menenun. Dari situ saya tertarik, saya belajar, dan kelompok di sini mau menerima saya untuk bergabung di dalamnya. Dan dari pengalaman itu saya merasa sedikit ada perubahan dalam hidup saya. Dan dari situ saya mendapatkan uang, walaupun tidak seberapa, tapi saya sangat bangga waktu itu. Dan sampai sekarang saya senang karena saya sudah bisa menghasilkan kain seperti ini. Saya juga sudah bisa sedikit-sedikit memenuhi kebutuhan rumah tangga saya, dan juga memenuhi tuntutan adat di dalam kampung ini. Harapan saya ke depan, semoga kelompok ini tetap ada, semua anggota kelompok tetap kompak, terus bersemangat, tetap bekerja sama untuk memajukan kelompok secara umum dan meningkatkan pendapatan rumah tangga secara khusus.
Kami punya satu kendala, itu adalah di pemasaran. Jadi kami minta, mungkin ada teman-teman yang ada di luar sana mungkin punya inisiatif atau ingin membantu kelompok Bambatan ini. Kami sangat terima kasih banyak bahwa karena dukungan dan kerjasama yang baik. Terima kasih.
Selamat sore ya teman-teman semua. Saya dari Arun.
I'm going to tell the story of the indigenous community Antena. Is the community Dobo. 160 people, if I got it correct. With 39 women involved in the weaving. So now there are 36 because 3 have left the village. Previously, I didn't know how I can join this and support this weaving group. But God has guided me. At 2 a.m., somebody called me, a friend from my earlier years. But he called me from Jakarta. And after meeting with him in 2005, we decided to go back to our village and help our weaving the weaving group of the women in 2005. 39 people, but now it's 36. Dobo itself has a meaning. It's a village that is on top of a tall mountain. The name of the community is called Iantena. Iantena is a ship or a boat in the middle of the forest. And before, in previous time, this boat already existed. And this is the artifact called Jongdobo, an ancient artifact. And there are those that guard this artifact, and they are dragons. And this belief has also descended or has been interpreted and applied into a motif in the Dobo weaving tradition. So these are the guardians of the Jongdobo artifact. And it's believed that they live in the customary forest in that area. In 1965, previously, in 1965, there was a disaster that happened during the time when there was a supposed coup d'etat on the government, when some came to ruin part of their village. So some of these things, and also some of the gold that we had, because this ancient artifact is partly made of gold, also disappeared. And they said they also had a snake that was given as food to the dragons who were guarding the boat. We usually have a special ritual called Nuru during the month of May. It cannot be before May or after May. So we use this ritual to pay for all the debts or all the wrongdoings of our ancestors in this ritual in the month of May. I've gone to very far places, but I really wanted to return to my village, because I've seen that many of our people that went out and got educated, there wasn't anybody who wanted to go back to help our village. So even if my own education is not so high, but with my own heart and my own dedication, I came back. And in 2005, I was able to help establish the women's group, Eban Watan, to slowly develop the group, slowly purchasing thread. I started to use also natural dyes. But it was a bit difficult. It took a long time to market some of the products. But if we use for the synthetic dyes, many people use this in the cloths, in their clothes every day. So it was easier to sell, and the movement of the working capital was faster. So our ancestors wore certain necklaces and earrings and traditional cloth. And what I'm showing you is not made of a shop bought thread, but of cotton that is harvested from the area and turned into yarn in the village. This motif is very important in our history. So now we go to the motifs. So why do men have to wear the sarongs called lipa? For men that are already mature, they have to use the lipa sarong or the lipa cloth as a skirt, which with squares and designs. And this is a symbol, a mark that the young boy is already a man. So that you must be mature, even in your family and your relationship with your wife. You should be only with your wife. No playing around, no other foolishness is the meaning of having this cloth on. I will now talk a little bit about the history of this cloth. It's a bit sad, the history of this cloth. Previously, we believe in our life that we lived not from water that came from the river, but from water that came from a banana tree. So there was somebody who was in the garden, the forest, and saw this bird was drinking water from the banana tree. And so our ancestors said, if this bird can drink from this water, then we should also be able to. And then they took a bamboo reed and put it inside of the banana trunk, and the banana reed was full and was clear and could be drunk by humans. And up to now, we drink this water. Previously, water was difficult. And we often have to search far to find water. So this is also one of the reasons why we don't hunt this bird, because the bird also symbolizes a relationship with water. So this is another motif related to another bird. My grandmother used to take care of a bird, and in 1 week, the bird became very weak and was not eating and was not drinking. And my grandmother was wondering what's happening to this bird. And after 1 week, soldiers or armed individuals related to the supposed coup d'etat in 1965 entered our village, and we started to run away because there were armed people who had come into our village, and there were many casualties of this this incident. including my father, who also died during the attack of 1965, the supposed communists who were part of the supposed coup at that time. So we have also made a motif about that part of our history. This is used by women about 70 years old and above, and they already start wearing gold jewelry. And also with a necklace. And then they will use a special cloth for the special ritual. You can't just use these cloths at any time and recklessly. So 65 and above, 70 and above, can you wear this cloth? And you wear it with your jewelry. Those 50 and below are not allowed to wear this cloth. And something eerie or something unwanted might come if you don't follow these rules. So this is a story about the dragon. This is the story that I told before of the dragons that are protecting our special boat. There are two of them, Amalago and Inabella, the male and the female dragon. And this we apply as a motif on our shawl. So they stand at the door of the boat, of our mystical boat. And this also, is also why people say it's difficult to enter our village. There are winding roads because you don't just chance upon our village. You have a reason to go there. And therefore people have it's difficult to get there. Everything needs to be planned properly. You don't just go there also by chance. And because you often go there for a purpose to see this special mystical boat that we have. This is the star motif. So usually worn by the women. And there are the dala, the large dala and the small dala. And there are also twin stars, the motif of the twin stars. And it's similar from what they see in the sky. Sometimes it seems like there are stars that are moving together like twins. For us, for the Dobo people, even up to now, when we make our house, we use bamboo mats to make the walls. It's difficult to bring other materials because the transportation and the roads and the terrain makes it difficult for people to come. So up to now, we use bamboo mats. And we use good quality bamboo to make our houses, our walls. And this becomes the inspiration for the motif of this cloth, the blasin. Then we move on to the next motif, ulega bunga, or different kinds of insects. So I speak of our own situation now, where we've had crop failure because also of pests that have eaten what we have planted. We're not able to harvest because we have these insects, these pests. And we have a special ceremony to try to get rid or to address this calamity of pests. Even though there are what they call pesticides and other things, we don't use that. We also believe that our rituals are helpful in our requests. This is the motif of the lanan or sweet potato, because we know that the sweet potato is also a root crop that crawls or creeps underground. This is also actually eaten by certain. So even if it's bunga lanan, which is the flower of the sweet potato, we refer more to the potato and its crawling nature. So this is to show that the women weavers are not only weavers, but they're also farmers in themselves. and that they also have their own farms that they take care of, and they cultivate root crops. So this is one of my last slides. During the pandemic, we've had a real difficult time in marketing our woven cloth. The weavers that used to weave together in one place, we have a special center for weaving. They're not able to come together anymore. Because they have to maintain a distance between them. So right now, the women are still weaving, but in their own homes. So even in the local market, it's not open and there aren't people who want to buy. There used to be traders as well who used to come to the local market and who used to buy and sell our products, but now there aren't anymore. We continue to make our hand-woven looms because whenever there is an important event and a ritual, we need to have these cloths, and therefore this is why we continue. And on top of that, there was the swine flu, which she wasn't able to explain.
Indonesia, sebuah negeri indah dan mempesona, mahakarya Sang Pencipta. Negeri kaya akan adat dan istiadat dan kebudayaannya. Ragam kebudayaan tersebut menjadi identitas masing-masing daerah yang hingga kini masih terjaga tradisi dan kelestariannya. Untuk menjaga warisan budaya dan menciptakan ruang belajar keterampilan bagi masyarakat lokal, khususnya perempuan, terbentuklah LAWE, sebuah komunitas pengusaha sosial yang bertujuan untuk menjaga kain tradisional leluhur. Misi kami membentuk LAWE untuk mengenalkan kepada dunia akan kekayaan tenun asli Indonesia sekaligus memberi kesempatan kepada perempuan untuk memberdayakan dirinya demi penghidupan yang lebih baik untuk mereka dan anak cucunya. Pada saat ini, LAWE banyak menggunakan motif lurik untuk produknya. Kain tenun lurik diperkirakan sudah ada sejak abad ke-14 silam. Lurik yang terbuat dari bahan katun kasar dan memiliki harga relatif murah membuatnya banyak digunakan oleh rakyat jelata di Jawa pada waktu itu. Kini, seiring perkembangan zaman, motif lurik telah berkembang dan digunakan dalam berbagai macam bahan, produk, serta kalangan. Sejak awal pandemi, LAWE sebagai produsen tersier terkena dampak hampir bersamaan dengan industri wisata. Karena LAWE memposisikan diri sebagai gift from Indonesia yang banyak dijual di gift shop dan bandara sebagai oleh-oleh. Kami berharap agar keadaan lekas membaik demi mengembangkan dan menjaga warisan leluhur akan budaya tenun Indonesia.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Nindya from LAWE. I'm one of 5 founders of LAWE and now become a chairperson in LAWE. LAWE has 2 core, and we agree to put a mission of LAWE that we want to promote the heritage of Indonesia worldwide and giving women opportunity to empower themselves for a better livelihood for them and their family. And this is what we see in weavers group in Indonesia. There are basically two challenges that we face. First is that traditional communities do not have sufficient insight for looking for a broader market. But like Ani said, that they still keep their spirit of weaving up. They weave every day. And the second challenge is the art of weaving is already start like about 9th and 10th centuries. And there is also an evidence in Sono Budaya Museum Yogyakarta, a terracotta statue wearing a woven shoulder cloth found in Trowulan is Majapahit Kingdom in East Java. The word of lurik comes from rik, that it means line or moat surrounding the castle or a kingdom, and that's represent the prayer for God's protection for the people who wear it. And this is the first lurik producers. Lurik began to produce by ordinary people, so it's not came from the royal family. They're using backstrap loom, like what we saw here. Women weaver from Tanjab village, Central Java, using very simple backstrap loom from bamboos and local wood. And then it evolved to a pedal loom. We usually call it a TPM, that introduced in the beginning of 20th century. So like this, the pedal loom. And it already, it was booming on 60s and 70s, and it's already one of our biggest handloom weaving workshop in Yogyakarta that we already work together and collaborate, collapsed in Yogyakarta earthquakes on 2006. And that's the first program we launched, calling Weaving Hope. So actually the owner of this workshop don't want to continue the work, and we try to ask him to continue, and we make a fundraising, and then they can rebuild their workshop. And this is the traditional pattern of lurik. We can see it in Kraton Yogyakarta or Yogyakarta Palace. It's used by the caretakers of royal households of Yogyakarta Palace. It's called Telupat pattern. So Telupat, the name of Telupat derived from Javanese words. It from word telu means tree, and papat means 4. So 3 plus 4 is 7. In Javanese words, 7 is pitu, and it means pitulungan or helps from God. This pattern invented by Sri Sultan Hamengkubuwono I, and he chose the ratio of this pattern like 3 and 4 composition, not like 3 or 8 or 3 or 312, because it has philosophical meaning that the difference between 3 and 4 is very close, and it means that the person of higher status, like the king, must be close to the people he leads. This is also we can found in Kraton Yogyakarta, traditional lurik pattern worn by Bergodo Ketanggung, one of Yogyakarta Royal Army. In my background is also one of army pattern. It's from Mantri Jeron pattern, Mantri Jeron Army. This is another traditional pattern called Udan Liris or drizzle. This pattern symbolizes fertility and prosperity. This motif is one of the motifs used by Sultan when it comes on a famine, when the king used this motif. Another motif is Tuluh Watu pattern. Is one of the sacred pattern in lurik. It means glittering or shining stone. And Tuluh also means strength and courageous. This motif is believed to have a power of warding of evil and bad luck. Tuluh Watu used to complement the offering. Yogyakarta's palace used to give offerings of the Labuan ritual to both Kanjeng Ratu Kidul, or Queen of the Southern Sea, as the ruler of Indian Ocean, and offering for supernatural beings of Mount Merapi. So it is believed that there is one imaginary line between Mount Merapi on the northern part of Yogyakarta, Yogyakarta Palace, and in the southern part of Yogyakarta, you will link with Southern Sea that is owned by Kanjeng Ratu Kidul. And this is a very interesting pattern called kluwung. Kluwung means rainbow. This motif considered sacred and possesses magical power toward of evil. Kluwung is used on Mitoni ritual, or 7 months of pregnancy, performed for women who always lost her baby she carried. It is also used to cover a child whose older and younger siblings died. I got this story also from my grandmother, that her brother and her younger sisters died when they were a child. This motif is believed to bring happiness to this child. Those are the traditional patterns. So we come now on the contemporary motifs created by LAWE. So this is our first effort to collaborate with the weavers to work together to create this new creation, new color composition development. At the first time, they don't want to do this composition because they don't believe that it can sell. And they asked that they want LAWE to grant it, that LAWE will buy the whole length of this lurik. So we said yes, and we start this composition. We started on about 2005. And we further developed this contemporary motif into birds of Indonesia colors. So we want to promote also the endemic birds of Indonesia and give education about this. As far, we already create 11 patterns of birds of Indonesia. We will explore also on fish of Indonesia and also orchids of Indonesia. And this is our next innovation that need the courage from us to transform the traditional handwoven traditional lurik into functional yet modern product, so we can sell it for today's daily life. So it not only respond the market demand, but we also look at the artisan potential, then we bridging it into the market. And this is our product range. We produce functional stuffs like bags, home furnishings, gift item, meeting kits, and apparel. And this is the newest product that market want, is some woven mask. And we create like a lot of this kind of mask, the model and the composition also, with the hat, with scarf, etc. And we also promote the green product. So we don't want to waste any of small woven. So like this flower, the petal, we use like 5 centimeters by 9 centimeters woven. So we don't want to waste any small cut of the woven. And we also develop the natural dye woven, and we transform it into products also. And with the support from GEF and the SGP and UNDP, we made this zero waste program in Yogyakarta to utilize textile waste toward zero waste industry. So we worked together with Dagadu at that time. We use their waste from t-shirt production, and we combine that with lurik waste also. And this is our journey to find the market. So we joined Inacraft in Jakarta 3 years since 2007. And like the video said, that we promote the cheerful gift from Indonesia. So we hope that our products will bring happiness to everybody that buy it. So our first international event is on Bali Global Warming Summit in December 2007. And this is our target market, the international travelers who need to bring home a piece of Indonesia, unique gift in souvenirs. And this is how we expand the network. We know we cannot work together. Indonesia consists of thousands of islands and thousands of weaving communities. So we ask our friends that have same passion with LAWE, and we help them, we support them with a production system. And we call our friends Sisterhood of LAWE. And we aim to export also. We are a member of Bali Export Development Organization, and we got some program coaching from some NGOs. And we join some of international exhibition. And nowadays we do virtual trade show. This is the latest on May 15, 2020 with Houston, USA. And as I mentioned before, LAWE is a social enterprise that we have two units that work together, integrated. One is the business side and the second is the program side. This is some of our program. This is our business ownership. So we creating spaces for learning life skill of local communities. So everybody that in LAWE is own this business. So it's not owned by me or by the founder, but it's owned by everybody that work in LAWE. And in LAWE, we are not merely build the business, but we also build the people. So we want to maximize people's potential that join us. So in this picture, there is Listia. Listia cannot speak Bahasa Indonesia. She only speaks Javanese. But at the time, there were about 80 students from around Indonesia that want to create something with their own hands. So Listia, without ability to speak Indonesia, we push her, so she become a trainer in this event. And after that, she got the confidence, and we send her to East Nusa Tenggara Timur also to make training. This is what we support. We sharing between weaving communities. It's in Semau, Nusa Tenggara Timur also. A lot of our training supported by there is some government bodies, some of NGO. This is supported by Bank Indonesia Mataram. We make a training in Pringgasela East Lombok, Nusa Tenggara Barat. And this is supported by World Vision Indonesia in Kevemenanu, East Nusa Tenggara. And this is what we have by ourselves. I mean, we 100% we fund this. Craft class for kids and craft class goes to school. It is done in Yogyakarta. And this is also supported by LAWE itself, the intern for disabled students. So like in this picture, the student and both the student and the teacher are mute. And we also support disabled community development. It's a Yogyakarta's earthquake survivor in Canden, Yogyakarta. With this network also, we want to build an international network like we already did with UA, Urisima University of Economics. So every year, twice a year, they came in Yogyakarta. They make program for communities, weaving communities in Yogyakarta. This is a program from Rapi Shelter in Yogyakarta and Mundon Village in Central Java. And this is our favorite program. We call it Weaving for Life. We develop it with Teras Mitra with support of GFSGP. We make this creation and the margin, the benefit back to the weavers group. So now Weaving for Life is already on 7 sites. This is the second site in Timor Island. We create this program so we can fundraise the scholarship for the young weavers. This also our Weaving for Life program in Bayan Village, Lombok Utara. And this is in Wakatobi, Sulawesi Tenggara. This is what we do for fundraise our program. We make like a dedicated products. So all margin from this dedicated program will fund our program. This is always our question: is it worthwhile to work this business? And we always think back that LAWE open wide opportunity to anybody who has a good quality craftsmanship, including disabled person and marginalized people. And we are happy that we can give the children better place and condition for them to grow and give them opportunity to achieve higher education. And the most important is to share this blessing to people around the globe, including you. Thank you. Back to you, Nonette.
Thank you. Right on time.
Really?
Right on time.
Okay, great.
Very, very detailed stories here that we all appreciate and value. We have about maybe 12 to 13 minutes question and answer. Anyone who wants to ask their question, they can ask it in English or in Bahasa. I will be able to help translate. And for Anis, you can answer only in Indonesian, and there is a translator provided. So anyone from the group that's listening, you can ask your question here, or you can type. There are some questions typed by Kit Gun. I can start with that. And for Kit, okay, I will speak in Bahasa so that Anis will understand. Pemakaian dan penjualan kain-kain yang ada motif sakralnya, bagaimana? Apakah bisa dijual dan dipakai? Bukan hanya dari si pemiliknya, tapi juga orang lain. Itu Anis, and also Nin, you can also add.
There are sacred motifs, and those are only used by the grandmothers and the grandfathers, especially the grandmothers, and they cannot be sold, especially if they have already been sewn together as cloth to be worn as clothes. So they cannot be sold. You can only sell certain kinds of commonly used motifs, like the ones that he is using behind him. Yeah. Yeah. I'm in the Zoom. Can you tell her?
If it is the sacred motif, especially if it is already sewn. But if it is not yet sewn, it can be unborn. And there's this, ada lagi pertanyaan mengenai persentase dari penjualan kain tenun kepada si penenun sendiri.
From the beginning, I buy thread. Then I ask if they can make shawls like this. And this is what they give to the group, and this is what I sell. After I sell this, I don't get any additional amount. I only get back the amount that I have used to pay for the thread that I have bought and given to them. But the rest of the amount goes back to them. I have also helped them to each have a bank book that each weaver has a bank book, and I have not taken a single 1,000 rupees from their bank account. When they are selling their products, I only ask that if they get like 1 million, I give them 200,000 so that they can buy thread again. Then so the 750, so I got 250 for the thread. The 750 I place in their bank account. So I'm not taking anything else other than what I have invested. In terms of the thread, I am also a smoker, and I haven't taken to buy my cigarettes. This is a part of my spirit that when I was working away, but I was called to come back here. This isn't because I wanted to become a trader and to make money, but because I wanted to come help my community. I can take care of myself. I can find a way to cover my needs, to buy my own cigarettes. I don't need to take any percentage off of whatever the sales of the women are. They will need this money more than I will need it. Maybe they want to buy livestock. Maybe they want to repair their kitchen. My objective is so that they can save and that they can earn money.
There in Savo Islands, we'll soon have the women weavers there would have sewing machines, the weavers. Would you be able to come and teach them how to make the accessories? Yes. Wonderful.
Yeah, we'll go there.
Okay, one question I have for both Kaduanya, with the need for the next generation to appreciate the traditions of weaving and the connection between human and nature and forests. That's always been in the weaving. Has there been some kind of proactive teaching, integrating this in the elementary and high school, so that the stories become reminders and rememberings, and be a source of pride for the next generation? So we would like, and the public, especially here, would like to know if this is still one of those focus efforts for the next generation. Omanis, bisa mulai.
Ya. Saya sambung lagi tadi ya.
So in the savings book of the weavers, from the beginning up to now, in the weavers group bank account, the whole one there, it's minimum, because we transfer to their individual accounts, and we don't want that they will have. So it's always used to buy thread. The women should always have thread so that they can continue weaving. Within the bank account of the weavers group, there should be 500,000, and that's it, because we need to use the rest of it to buy thread or other things. So we need to maintain that balance, the 500,000. I'm not going to take anything from this amount, because that would be like a sin for me. I'm working with them as a volunteer. And this is a challenge because not everyone has this kind of spirit of volunteerism. Because I am saying to myself, the business of the women has to keep going. What if something happens to me when I die? If this comes into the wrong hands, then the money of the women might disappear. So what is important, that they continue weaving, that they can also help the livelihoods of the community with their own money.
Funding that Omanis was emphasizing. For India, please respond to the question of the next generation.
Yes, actually there is no official education, especially for weaving tradition in schools. So that's why we urge to send our trainers to like make to offer the school that we give like a class to show about the the weaving tradition, and to ask the children to create with their own hand, because like everybody's understand now, the children, the toddlers, every time they working with gadget, they play with gadget, they cannot use their motoric sense, the motoric system. And with the community in introduce these activities into the school also, so they got slot to teach the children, but it's not official into the education system. It's like extra education outside the regular classes. And also in Bayan villages, the headmaster offer his house to welcome the children to learn how to weave in his house. So before that, he can get like funding to make classes, weaving classes in the school, but now it's already stopped. And we encourage him also to make approach to education body, government body in northern Lombok. So that's what we did.
Wonderful. Yeah, thank you very much. We have not only the next 3 minutes. There is a question about environment and the use of the chemical dyes, because the products are really bright colors. Jadi terang sekali warna dari apa terang-terangnya warna yang kita produksi sekarang, yang kita lihat. Bagaimana dengan chemical dye, ya, apa namanya, menggunakan ini dengan sampah-sampah di ya.
Jadi oke, terima kasih Ibu. Ada dua warna ya. Ada dua warna yang dulu yang pernah kita buat.
We have used these. This is natural dye. It's made from cotton that's harvested here, not from thread that we buy, and a natural color. Our way of washing this cloth, we don't wash it with usual soap, but we wash it with salt so that it doesn't get faded.
The wastewater treatment for chemical dye, and poorly it cannot be built into small units for home industry. It has to be like a big system for a big factory. And we ask some of our network if they have a new approach for this home industry scale wastewater management, because it's our concern also. And we learn about some plants that it is said that it can absorb the chemical of wastewater, but it's still ongoing the experiments in Bali. So we will learn from it also.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for the questions. I will now only have 1 minute each to end, yeah, to just say something for the public, for everyone listening.
Very honored that I've been able to share and with my friends and with others. I thank very much Aman that has assisted, that has continued to help me, especially Aman and Rina that has been helping me very closely and without fail. The only thing I can say is thank you very much. I cannot give you anything else. I say from afar, thank you very much. Who helped me make my presentation. I don't have anything else to share with you. I don't have any gifts, but I give you my heartfelt thanks. And thank you for your contribution, for attending. And I hope that with your help through this webinar, I can also help the community.
Yeah. Thank you for this opportunity that we can share LAWE's passion and mission. And we hope that we can make a tight network and collaborate in the future. So we hope we can work together, all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. And for me, I am very pleased to see how the indigenous peoples and traditions of ancient weaving have spread out and became the inspiration of contemporary handicrafts and empowerment of women artisans and men as well. Thank you very much for this webinar and for the inspiration. So it is remembering, regaining, and regenerating. Thank you.
We'd like to say thank you to everybody who has been part of this journey with us. Sorry, this is just 5 slides. We tried to compile all of the ways to say thank you in all of the languages of all of the groups. These are the ones that we have. I'm not going to try to say them because I might mispronounce them. And also, Ibu Genevieve also mentioned that there are some Austronesian languages that don't have a exact translation. So they communicate in a different way to stress their appreciation. So these are just a few slides. We wanted to say thank you to all of our speakers, moderators, filmmakers and editors, interpreters and Zoom hosts. There are many behind the scenes that you have not seen, who are working all of the logistics and the technology. Today we had a lot of technical difficulties. We went from plan A to plan B and plan C. So we were on plan C. So we apologize for the hanging times, but that's because we were on plan C. Just to show you some of the behind the scenes, all the preparations behind this, all of the Zoom calls. In the lower left is the Sulawesi community, the Bada Valley that was washed out, that lost, 15 families lost their tools to make bark cloth, but with your generous help, they're going to start rebuilding this bark cloth. And we also had women who were going on top of mountains, and also women trying to find signals just to join us. Here are examples of the flyers and all of our faces in these webinars. We also would like to thank so much the Indonesian Heritage Society, especially these 4 women, especially Ayla and Anya, who have been joining us and supporting us also in front of the scenes and behind the scenes, and our Meet the Makers advisors, Juliana Rowe and Barbara Johnson, and of course, all of you who have been helping us with our introductions. Thank you so much, and we say a final thank you as well with this to Mama Jovita, who has gone ahead of us, and so that she knows that we think of her fondly and that we will continue our mission to support artisans, maintain craft traditions, and Indonesian cultural heritage. So thank you again, and terima kasih. Now to Anya.
Thank you also from Indonesian Heritage Society to Pak Anis and Ibu Adinindyah for sharing your inspiring journey in finding a balance between preserving traditional designs and yet embracing contemporary ones, for showing us those beautiful ikat and really amazing lurik. To the weavers who opened their homes during this challenging pandemic time to generously share their knowledge and philosophies behind the motifs as a collection of their social archives. Also, of course, to Meet the Makers webinar team for these noteworthy programs. And finally, we'd like to invite you to join Indonesian Heritage Society. Registration is open now. There will be an online Selamat Datang on the 16th of September to welcome new members. And if you like to have more information about Indonesian heritage, please contact us or visit our website at heritage.org. Hope to see you again. Thank you.